Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Corinne, where I talk about all things sex, thriving in your singleness, and self love. And today we are going to be talking about your standards are not for everyone. This is a gentle reminder that as a feminine essence, me, as a feminine woman, you get to choose. Okay, first of all, as a human, you get to choose. God gave everybody free will, that is your God given right. Okay, free will is yours. No one can take that from you. You would have to give up your free will. Okay? No one can take that from you. So, as a feminine essence woman, you need to understand that not only do you have free will, it is required of you, it is God requires women to have standards. Okay? God requires this of us. So you are required to have standards. And if you don't want to have standards, I would not recommend it, but you are free to live your life. If you don't want to have standards, you will have a harder life. Okay, it's just true because you'll let any and everything in. You let people, places, things, men, jobs, companies, businesses, cats, rats, turtles, trucks, whatever, run amok in your life. So you need standards, you need boundaries. So I want to explain how your standards are not for everyone. There are 7 billion people in this world. Okay, 7 billion. And you're not even going to interact with all 7 billion of them. It's just not possible for you to have 7 billion meaningful interactions. And so once you realize how big this world is, but really how small your life meaningful interactions with people are, you start to understand how special the people are in your life are. And so shout out to the people who meet the standards and shout out to the people who love you. That's beautiful and we want to celebrate them for that. And so, but we need standards, okay? So your standards are not for everyone. I want to give an example. So think about a high-powered law firm. So there's this high-powered law firm and it was like 15 years of experience um, with like an 80% success rate of, I think it was criminal law, of like convictions and this amount of money in settlements. And I'm just reading the job description. I'm like, wow, okay, that's the requirements. Interesting. You needed to have a JD, you needed to have the 15 years of experience, 80% success rate, and something else. I did not get offended, okay, at this job description. Why? This job description was not for me. Those standards were not for me. I am not interested in law. I don't even have 15 years of experience being in the workforce. Okay? I don't have 15 years of experience being in the workforce. And so those minimum things, and then how could I possibly have an 80% conviction rate? How could I possibly have that amount in settlements? And so it was not speaking to me. I was not offended. Okay? Let's say I was in law and I really wanted that job, but those requirements I didn't fit. Maybe then I would get upset. And so here's what you have to understand is that your standards, they should be written out, by the way. I have a video called Where Are Your Standards? They should be written down just to help you remember. So your standards are kind of like a job description, okay? And it's like a requirement of entry for us to even have the conversation. This is what you need. That job description, nowhere in there did they say, I'm sorry if you don't meet these requirements. Nowhere in there did they say, we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings because we have these requirements. Those were the requirements, were the requirements, were the requirements, were the requirements, okay? Nobody, maybe you could call and be upset, but they probably wouldn't have time to take your call. And if they did, it just wouldn't make any sense to them because those are the requirements. So in your life, you get to set your own requirements. How many lawyers could actually fit in those requirements? I have no idea, but I doubt that it will be a lot of them. Okay, because this was a very exclusive law firm, but this is what they wanted. They have a certain level, there's a certain desire. That was the request. Stop apologizing for your standards. Someone will meet them. Okay? Stop apologizing. Stop. Stop apologizing for your standards. If they cannot meet them, they are not for you. If they get upset, it means they wanted it. First of all, they wanted it, or they wanted you, or they wanted access, and they cannot have it. That is not a you problem. That is a them problem. Okay? Not a you problem. So stop apologizing for your standards. Stop. There is no rule book on standards. You get to make them for yourself. And whatever you set as your standard is going to be your standard. Period. The right people will meet it. The wrong people will fall away. Stop apologizing. That nowhere in that job description did I see an apology. It was what it was, what it was, what it was. Is we have to work on self-worth. I'm making this video because I just had like something come up. And first of all, this human being asked me something that I had not been asked in so long that I was like, okay, what am I doing that made that question like come up? But I said, no, I don't do that. And then I thought some more and I said, wait, does this person even meet my standards? Like, I'm sitting here like questioning myself, but does this person even meet my standards? And the answer, I really thought about it, like settled with it. I said, this is a good person. They're a wonderful catch too, but they don't meet my standards. So I'm like, okay, leave this person alone. And I was like going back and forth. I was like, no, but da 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 da. And, oh, Corinne, it's, you really gotta. And I'm like, no. You get to have your standards. I also have the consequences of my standards, right? That may mean that it may take me longer to find what I'm looking for. It may mean that less people have access to me. And those are consequences that I am willing to take. And you have to weigh out the pros and the cons of that. But I said, what happens if I don't get a person who meets my standards? And I said, I feel like I would shrivel up and die. And not literally, but like I want so much expansion as a feminine woman. Like I'm so freaking excited to when I can just like, I'm already doing it, but even more expansion as a feminine woman. And I'm like, if I could not expand as a feminine woman in my relationship, I would shrivel up and die. Like I would not be fun. I would end up resenting this person because I knew who I could be if I had just kept my standards. And so, no. I was like, no. Corinne, you need to keep your standards. So I held strong, and I wanted to make this video of like, the standards are the standards are the standards are the standards are the standards, period. Was this is a good person. This is a good catch. Like many people would say, why on God's green earth are you not trying to like make this happen? And it's like, it did not feel right. My intuition was like, no, girl. And my intuition is never wrong. It's like, no, girl, look back at the standards. And I'm like, oh, man. And it wasn't even like this person didn't meet a big standard, but it's one that really, really matters to me. And so I had to think about it. And I said, okay. I had the deep breath and I had to journal. I said, okay. All right, Corinne. You said you wanted this. That's your desire. Hold space for that desire. Hold the energy of that desire. Keep it. Move accordingly. I did some journaling. I did some praying. And I'm like, all right, we're good to go. But your standards are your standards are your standards are your standards. I don't know why people try to talk others out of high standards. I really don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, because most of the time the people who try to talk you out of high standards are people who don't have high standards themselves. And so I want to look at people in that area who have what I have, and I want to see their standards, and then I'm going to take that and like kind of replicate that in my life. I'm not going to look at people in my life who I don't want to be like and listen to them. It just doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't mean that they don't have good advice, but if that's not who I want to be like, I'm not going to listen to them. If I want to be extremely physically fit, like if I want to join what's a big competition? If I want to join like the world's best women's bodybuilding competition, I'm not going to go ask a power walker their regimen and their standards for eating and working out and sleeping and rest and recovery. It doesn't make any sense. Now, does that mean a power walker isn't fit? No. Most power walkers are very fit. Okay, power walking is serious. Most power walkers are very fit, but they do not have what I want. I want to be in the best women's muscle bodybuilding contest. And so I need to go to people who have either trained the best or who train in that area or people who have won in that area. And then I listen to them. Okay? I don't listen to the power walkers. Nothing wrong with the power walkers because they are fit. But are they living where I want to live? Are they at the level where I want to live at? No. Whereas it would not make any sense and even let's go to top level, an Olympic swim and diving coach to train an Olympic sprinter. It doesn't make any sense because they don't have the things they need. They need to train somebody in swim and dive. And this person needs to be trained by someone who knows how to do sprints. The body composition is different. The type of breathing they need to do is different. The type of food they need to eat is different. The type of rest and recovery they need is different. Like the techniques are different. So if you want to live a feminine life full of joy and peace and ease, should you be listening to people who don't live a feminine life and who don't have joy and who don't have peace and who don't have ease? It doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't have to be me. Go find somebody. I'm not the end all be all. I'm not like the guru. So go find somebody. But it makes no sense to be taking your cues from people with low standards. I've had people who are in terrible marriages try to give me relationship advice, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? And then I have people who I just met you can just see the joy on their face and how much they love each other, and they're giving me relationship advice, and I'm hanging on to their every word. Because I'm like, I'm still a little cautious because I don't know them, but I'm like, the energy I got from them, the way the men spoke about the woman and how much he loved being married and how honest they were with me about their trials and how they got over them. I was like, okay. So I took some of what they said and I put it in my pocket because I was like, okay, this is good information because I want to be where you all are. They had been married for 17 years. They were telling me about, just like the ups and downs of marriage and just trusting God and having faith and going to marriage counseling and reading the right books and learning love languages and all these things. And I was like, okay, this sounds good. This sounds good. I like that. My soul agrees with that. Yes. So I listened to them. But to the person I know who has people who are married who try to tell me about relationships, I'm like, in what world would I listen to that? Even if it's the best advice, it's like no one wants to listen to that. You have to show the results. Okay, you have to show me the results. Show me the Carfax. It doesn't make any sense. So as a person who has high standards and as somebody who can say, I have enjoyed my dating life. A lot of people cannot say that. As a woman who can say, I love men. A lot of women cannot say that. As a woman who can say, when men leave my presence, I am uplifted by them. A lot of women cannot say that. I'm telling you, have high standards. And my standards are going up. By the way, I'm like, ooh, I deserve more. And I wrote a list of my standards. And then I wrote, what does this person receive from me? And I had to write it down because I need to remind myself, okay, what do they get from me? Because it's unfair to have high standards of someone and then have like really low piss poor treatment of them, and you don't, and it's not like a reciprocal relationship. So what are your high standards for them? How are you showing up, and how are you like saying thank you in a reciprocal way? And I was like, okay, I need to be a reciprocal to this. Am I reciprocal to this? Where do I need to focus on? How do I need to change that up? In what areas can I be more grateful? In what ways can I be more caring and kind and attentive? How can I be more open? How can I create more peace? How can I inspire them more? What can I do to help the next person who comes into my life? And because I want them to be doing the same thing, I want them to be like, when I leave Corinne, Corinne is better. When I leave Corinne, Corinne has had an experience. I know Corinne is safe. I know Corinne is taken care of. When she's in my presence, Corinne wants for nothing. And I'm like, thank you. And when you're in my presence, I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be thankful. I'm going to really, really, really like deeply receive your generosity. I'm going to be inspirational. I'm going to like play up my best assets. I'm going to like fawn over you. Like if I'm with you and I really like you and I'm very attracted to you, like 9 times out of 10, if someone stops and talks to us, I will brag on you because I'm like, he's such a good man. Like, look at him. Look at like this beautiful place he took me to. I'm so thankful. Right? Like, oh, he was working and he had to work really late and still he like made time for me. I'm going to do those things. I'm going to like want to make you tea if you don't feel good. I'm going to want to cook you food. This is just mean. It's not a feminine. You don't have to, if that's not your thing, if you don't cook, you don't cook, girl. You also do need to know like how to sustain yourself though. But that's just me. I like to cook. I like to bake. That's who I am. So I want to like do those things for you. I want to be helpful in the business area. If that's like you need to go to an event, you need to go to a gala, like I want to be the one to show up and be like, all right, let's do this. Let's work the room. Let's do it. So what do you also, how are you rising up to their standards as well? Because it doesn't make any sense if you're just like, I just show up. You have to bring other things, okay? But keep your standards high. And that way, when you keep your standards high, you are also evolving with your standards. So I know that in order to attract the new kind of like level of person I'm trying to attract, I have to go to different levels. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of scary, but I'm going to do this. I have to go to different levels to be able to attract it. So raise your standards, keep them high. And the worst thing you do, what is it? You aim for the stars, you land on the moon, something like that. It's like, even if you keep your standards high and they're not, and only 80% of your standards are met, at least you had high standards and you're not getting like the bottom of the barrel. Low standards help no one. Okay? Low standards help no one. I know people who have low standards, and those low standards don't only affect their life, it affects their parents' life, it affects their child's life, it affects their sister's life, it affects their community's life. And so it's like, you don't understand how much influence you have over people and how much people are watching you to see what is possible. So if you have high standards, you are showing people who are coming after you, this is the new normal. Okay? You are showing the people who came before you, thank you for everything you did. And because of the way you raised me, because of the way you poured into me, now this is the level I'm at. Thank you so much. Your high standards help everyone. And again, this isn't going to be for everyone because everyone is not going to feel worthy. And I pray that you begin to feel worthy. I just pray that you begin to feel worthiness inside of your soul and your heart because you are worth it. You're worth kindness. You're worth gentleness. You're worth love. You're worth peace. You're worth ease. You're worth all these beautiful things. Set your standards high. I'm going to put a journal entry, some journal entries in the description box. I'm also going to put along with that my courses that are on sale and just, y'all, life-changing in real life. Like information I just have not seen out publicly that people are giving. Like, I just have not seen my information on courses. Maybe it's out there, I just don't know. But Sex is Your Superpower is a big one. It is where you get one-on-one time with me, and it's a 12-week course where we go through the stages of like a woman's sensuality and how to become the ruler of the sensual realm, how to take a sexual pause, how to date in your feminine, how to have fun, because a lot of people are not having fun, they're being depleted. I'm like, girl, if you don't leave there with something, leave there with something, right? How to date in their feminine. It's also relationship rehab where you like dust the dirt off, get the dirt off your shoulders from that last relationship or those last two relationships, and you learn how and why it happened and how to never do it again. There's also a course in there where I talk about joy and how you can have more joy and like the steps to that. And it's a huge question I ask you in there. That is a question, it's very deep, and it's like a lot of journal prompts around that, and it's it's gonna make you like think about basically like your death and how you want, think about your life and how you want to leave here and the impact you want to leave, and then really like starting to break down what that looks like in your life and how that's going to show up and how you're going to like change your thought patterns. So good. So all of those have journal entries, they have journal entries, videos, things to like really help you navigate. Affirmations are in there, so I made and recorded affirmations for those, so where you can listen to it to start to reprogram your mind. Super helpful. My question in the comments I want you to answer is, what is one standard you are going to raise today? Okay, not tomorrow, not what next week, not next month, not next year, but today. What is one standard you're going to raise? It could be for somebody else or for yourself. I would love to hear in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.